Go. It's been a minute jumping back into this fierce conversations because I need to be having fierce conversations when we get the top of the abs for y'all a little bit. Workout's been going good lately. Gotta stay consistent though. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna finish off the last paragraph here. Most leaders have learned from experience that until the multiple, sometimes conflicting realities of key individuals and constituents have been acknowledged and explored, implementing a plan can be a decidedly tentative endeavor. Fierce conversations often do take time. The problem is not having them takes longer. Fierce conversations are a marvelous cure for excessive certitude. Since there is the truth in any business, the question is, what is the best a truth for today? Not the truth, a truth. Reality is unforgivingly complex. I'm gonna start actually a little higher because I don't remember none of this stuff. I'm gonna start a little, rewind it back. Top of page 39. Still on chapter 1. Multiple competing realities existing simultaneously. This is true, and this is true, and this is true. As Anne Lamott writes, reality is unforgivingly complex. Since there is no the truth in any business, the question is, what is the best a truth for today? We are more likely to discover the truth we most need to understand today by demonstrating that everyone has a place at the corporate table, that all voices are welcome, that no matter what our area of expertise, each of us has insights and ideas about other aspects of the organization. And while each of us may know a better way for the company to do something, none of us knows more than the sum of everyone's ideas. My friend Tom Seeberger, who has led many fierce trainings, recently said, "Thought leadership is a team sport." So true. In addition to diversity as we normally think of it, we need diversity of thought. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to demolish the ensconced. Fierce conversations are a marvelous cure for excessive certitude. In other words, whatever you're sure of, don't be. Later in this chapter, I will introduce you to a powerful conversation model for interrogating reality with anyone on any topic. Hold on one second. But first, be reminded that one of the goals in a fierce conversation is to get everyone's reality out on the table so it can be interrogated. Everyone's. Many a corporate leader has groaned upon considering this point. I've got a business to run. Taking the time to interrogate everyone's piece of the truth about what color the company is could take forever. Not always. I've had fierce conversations that lasted only a few seconds. More about those later. But it's true, fierce conversations often do take time. The problem is not having them takes longer. Most leaders have learned from experience that until the multiple, sometimes conflicting realities of key individuals and constituents have been acknowledged and explored, implementing a plan can be a decidedly tentative endeavor. To the degree that you resist or disallow the exploration of differing realities in your workplace, you will spend time, money, energy, and emotion cleaning up the aftermath of plans quietly but effectively torpedoed by individuals who resent the fact that their experience, opinions, and strongly held beliefs are apparently of little interest to the organization. A leader's job is to get it right for the organization, not to be right. And this requires beach ball meetings that are clear, compelling, focused, energized. A beach ball meeting isn't always about solving problems. It can be about exciting things, a new opportunity, a key decision, a strategy that will help you achieve your goals. There are 4 stages of interrogating reality using the beach ball model. The first is to prepare for the meeting by identifying the issue. The second is deciding who should be part of the conversation. The third is facilitating the conversation by inviting input from every person in the room. Let's look at the first, preparing for the meeting by identifying the issue. Preparing an issue for discussion. Pat Murray suggests the problem named is the problem solved. It is crucial to spend time in the problem naming part of the exercise before the meeting. We've all been invited to meetings that dragged on and on while we wondered what the topic was and texted under the table or checked our email. I know from experience that high performing teams get frustrated when they feel they are doing the work a colleague should have done beforehand. They like it short, clear, and simple. They like to hit the ground running. Unfortunately, in meetings, after half an hour or so of sincerely attempting to help someone who has misnamed the issue, most people find it difficult to muster the energy and attention needed to shift gears and stay engaged. To help you get clear about the issue, create an issue preparation form like the one below as an essential part of your preparation for a meeting. It's the form that the CEOs in my think tanks always filled out before they brought an issue to their peers, but anyone and everyone who asks for a meeting should do this. It's the form our leaders at Fierce use when we meet with our advisory board. It prevents an incoherent or incomplete explanation of the topic on the table. Additionally, attendees appreciate good use of their time. At the top of the appreciation list is the accurate identification of the problem. Issue preparation form template. First, the issue is: be concise. In 1 or 2 sentences, get to the heart of the problem. Is it a challenge, opportunity, decision, strategy, or recurring problem? Is it significant because? What's at stake? How does this affect dollars, income, people, products, services, customers? It is significant because people, products, service, customers, or other relevant factors. What is the future impact of the issue if this issue is not resolved? My ideal outcome. What specific results do we want? In other words, assuming we get this right, what good things will occur? What/who will be affected? Relevant background information. Summarize with bulleted points. How, when, why, and where did the issue start? Who are the key players? Which forces are at work? What is the issue's current status? What we have done up to this point? What steps, successful or unsuccessful, have been taken so far? The option I am considering. What options am I considering? What option would I choose if I had to decide right now without input from the group? The help I want from the group is what I want from the group. Tell me what I'm missing. What are you seeing that I may not be seeing? Suggest alternative solutions, consequences I may have missed, where to find more information, critique of the current plan. An alternative approach is to withhold your ideas until others have shared theirs. However, I find that the conversations are best launched when there is a well-defined idea offered as a jumping off place for everyone's thinking and discussion. When we hear someone in a leadership role say, "I want to hear what you have to say before I tell you what I'm thinking," everyone wonders, what's the right answer? The conversation becomes cautious as they fish for clues as to the leader's thinking. So put your answer out there right from the get-go. If you don't have a proposal to fix the problem, say so. Simply identify the issue and proceed. Send the invitation and expectations. I'll say it again. What gets talked about in the company, how it gets talked about, and who gets invited to the conversation determines what will happen and what won't happen. You get to decide what to talk about. The beach ball approach is the how part. Once you've filled out your issue preparation form, think about who should attend the meeting. No one person has all the answers in your organization, and you can probably predict your team members' views on the topic. So don't just invite the usual suspects. Who else should attend? It isn't always helpful to exclusively look to the persons with the most experience. Additionally, look to the persons with the best vantage point. Who is standing right at the juncture where things are happening? Who has the 50-yard line seat on the action? That person isn't always the designated leader. Also, who stands squarely downstream and therefore will be impacted by any decisions you make? Who is the customer, internal or external? A few years ago, after a great deal of arm twisting on my part, 2 actual customers were invited to a beach ball meeting focused on a company's plans to expand their offerings. After listening intently, both customers said that while they would be happy to benefit from the expanded offerings, they would not be interested in paying for them as their priorities lay elsewhere. They then told my client what they really wanted from them, why they wanted it, and what they were prepared to pay to get it. Rather useful input, wouldn't you say? So, depending on the topic for the meeting, who has a perspective that you need to understand before making a decision? Err on the side of inclusion rather than exclusion. Send out the invitation, let them know the topic, the decision to make, strategy to design, problem to solve, or opportunity to evaluate. Why it is significant, and that you want them to come prepared to share their perspectives on the topic. If you'd like them to review material before the meeting, send it with the invitation. Make it clear that you want them to come to the meeting having already reviewed the material, prepared to share their perspectives. Do not begin a meeting by asking people to read something. That's the best way I know to kill the energy and flatline everyone's thinking. Let them know you will begin the meeting on time and do so. Don't wait for latecomers. Some companies are so accustomed to meetings that don't start on time. Attendees don't even bother to leave their offices until they think most have assembled. If this is habitual in your organization, break the habit during the meeting. Thank everyone for coming. After all, they are busy and you have asked for their time and their brain cells. Ask them to close any laptops, mute cell phones, and put down their pens. Tell them you want this to be a conversation during which everyone is looking at and listening to whoever is talking. No note taking. This will frustrate those who love to write everything down, but they'll survive and will hear more than they would if they'd been taking notes. Talk them through your issue preparation form, then pass out copies to everyone in that order. You want them looking at you when you take them through it, not reading. Talk them through, then pass it out. Note, do a bang up job on item 2. It is significant because if nothing changes, this is what is likely to occur. Bullet points. The prices will pay. This will happen. This will happen. This will happen. The last part, the help I want from the group is key. Let them know you are inviting them to influence you and therefore the outcome of the meeting. Let them know that you want to know what they're seeing that you may not be seeing or that is different from what you're seeing. Let them know that you want to help prevent the future you described if nothing changes. Let them know that at the close of the meeting, you will ask each of them to make a recommendation based on what has been shared. This will get their attention, and anyone who had planned to daydream will abandon that plan. Once you've walked them through your issue prep form, which shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes max, open it up for clarifying questions. I suggest allowing about 15 minutes for questions, then shift to soliciting their ideas and suggestions. More than 15 minutes of questions is hard to take for people brimming with ideas they want to share. Besides, endless questions can be a strategy to avoid making suggestions. Some people never feel they have all the information they need. You might say, let's move from questions to answer. What are your thoughts on the topic? Your job at this point is to A, shut up and listen, and B, make sure you hear from everyone in the room. No one gets a pass. Ask for pushback. For example, I shared what I feel is the right way to go, the right course of action, and I suspect some of you may see it differently. If you do, I'd like to hear it. I know that my enthusiasm may make it hard to challenge me, but my job is to make the best possible decisions for the organization, not to persuade you of my viewpoint. So please speak up. This is an unusual and highly appealing way to begin a meeting. At Sundance, Robert Redford begins meetings by saying, I am inviting you to influence me. I want to be different when this meeting is over. Who wouldn't respond to an invitation like that? People will open up when you publicly, openly, and actively encourage them to share opposing views, showing that you are open to rational influence. Pay attention to who speaks up. And before you move to the final step, call on every individual at the table who hasn't said anything. Sarah, what are your thoughts? Mike, what's your perspective on this? Note, I imagine some of you over the course of your careers have found yourselves with a team member who, like a character in Charles Baxter's The Feast of Love, adopted an attitude of lethal neutrality and immobility. No matter how sincerely and graciously you invite such people to share their views, they decline the invitation. Yet, because of their position and power in the organization, until they are on board, they stand squarely in the way of progress, like the tree that a drunk driver swerves into. It kills you just by standing there. In chapter 4, you will learn a model for confronting such behavior with courage and skill. The point here is that the only wrong answers in a beach ball meeting are "I don't know," to which you would respond, "What would it be if you did know?" And "I don't have anything to add," to which you respond, "What would you add if you did have something to add?" What? Watch your tone of voice here. Be sincere, interested. This way it becomes clear to everyone that they don't get to come to a beach ball meeting and hide out. They are there to listen, think, contribute. Otherwise, why do you need them? At times, I've used other more colorful words to encourage reluctant team members to challenge one another's thinking. Tie a lure onto your line, a belief, an opinion, a provocative question, then chuck it into the stream and see what bites. If we are to build something other than loose change relationships with one another, give us something to sink our teeth into and challenge our thinking. A caution: when someone takes you up on your invitation to challenge your strongly held opinion, resist the temptation to immediately defend your idea. So often I've observed teams respond to what appeared to be a sincere invitation only to be shot down by a leader's knee-jerk attempt to build a stronger case. You've seen this happen, have probably done it yourself. A leader asks for input and someone screws their courage to the sticking point and says, "Well, I'm concerned about," to which the leader replies, "I hear you, Jim, but," thus ensuring that no one else bothers to share what they're really thinking, because to everyone in the room, it feels as if the leader is saying, "Apparently you haven't grasped the brilliance of my thinking. Let me explain it to you one more time." Or, "Fooled you, I'm not really asking. My mind is already made up." Or simply, "You're wrong." Don't be that person. Approach this conversation as Einstein did, with thoroughly conscious ignorance. Get genuinely curious. Ask them to say more. Dang. This last part is 4. No. All right, we're going to stop right there. 46. That's good work right there.